Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Marilyn Michelle, and my channel is called One Honest Life. And I have decided to start a series to where I share um, one honest conversation. And today I decided to share my viewpoint of how I've been dealing with grief, because I've had a lot of grief in my life, and it includes deaths, jobs, um, relocation, relationships, friendships. And today I decided to go ahead and share my story. I decided to share my story when it comes to grief with death. And I've had a lot of that, honestly. I had a lot of death in my life, especially to be my age. I feel like I have dealt with some things that people may not feel like they would ever see themselves dealing with it. Even now, it seems surreal. I guess I should start with my. Sorry, I'm having a hard time doing this, but I really wanted to share because I wanted to help. If I could help someone else out, then I want to do it. So as of July 10th of this year, this will be my 4th year of not having my sister. We were 3 years apart. She's my older sister. I only had one sister, honestly, and that makes it even harder. But a lot of times people, if you've never really been through anything, experienced death in that capacity of someone you're really close to, I don't think you really get the capacity of how painful it is, really. And it in a sense, it's surreal. It's really hard to explain it, but I just know it's been very difficult for me, honestly. And I've been trying to hold it together for a long time, and most of it I've dealt with by myself, because I've never really had that family that was very supportive of me. And I'm not gonna say that they doing it intentionally, but we just don't have that close. I don't have that close knit family that some people may have. And I know there are people that have the same kind of similar dynamics in their family, so they can kind of more so understand it. But someone that probably doesn't have that, and even friendships, I don't have a lot of friends that I have support. So yeah, yeah, it's been difficult for me dealing with a lot of things. I've been trying to be strong and resilient and deal with it, but I'm not gonna lie, it's been very difficult. I've had my struggles every day trying to figure out how to process it, because I can tell you all day that I'm okay, or I can keep going forward and coping with it, but it's not meaning that I'm truly okay. Because that's kind of also why I wanted to share my story, because that's kind of part of my mental health journey that I've been dealing with. It's trying to figure out how to keep going forward and be okay, because truth be told, I don't think I'm okay, honestly. I genuinely don't think I'm okay the way I say I am. And I think most people can kind of relate to that. If you ever had a close person, I know years ago, it's been honestly about 13 years now, maybe more. I honestly had to stop counting because it seems so unreal that my father passed away. And I did know my father, and I did care about him, but it wasn't to the capacity as to how much more painful it was to lose my sister. Um, I've been knowing her obviously my entire life, so I didn't know what it was like to not have her here. And so I remember I can remember everything I ate that day when I got the call, how I felt, my gut. It was unreal. I remember I was eating breakfast that morning, and I was having bacon with toast with blueberry jam and eggs. I remember my mom called, and I remember her saying over and over again, I could barely understand what she was saying, honestly, but all I could hear her keep possibly saying was, your sister's gone, your sister's gone. I'm like, and in my mind, I'm like, gone where? It never dawned on me that she was saying that she was not there anymore, like actually gone. Um, so I remember I told her, I was like, hey mom, can you just give my oldest niece the phone, see can she help me understand what you're saying? And my niece got on the phone, and she was just like, yeah, your sister's, she died. And I don't know, I couldn't process it. And I was about an hour away from home at that time, so that was the longest drive I could ever imagine having. It was difficult. I remember when I finally did get there, and I pulled up and I seen people everywhere, family members and my mom, and she was hysterical. And I just got out the car, and first thing I was asked, it was, do you want to see her? It was a what they call it, corner. I don't even know how to say the word, but you know what I'm talking about. The person that comes to pick up the body, and instantly I just fainted because I couldn't process that they were what they were asking me, and my heart was so heavy. It was so heavy. And then on top of that, I was trying to be strong for my mom because I knew it was just a lot for her already to deal with. So I tried to just suck up my feelings and hold out and be strong for her and do what I could to be the best daughter I could be at that point. I felt like I could be at that point, and I'm not lying. It finally got to a point I couldn't take it. After we got done with the funeral, got to the repast, and I pretty much flipped out. I did. I flipped out to where I was so angry because I started finding out things about stuff that had been going on with her before, and the person she was dealing with, time dating, and I just got so angry. I was so angry. And it's so crazy because I have not gotten over that anger. Being honest, I feel like I'm still angry most of the time. And then, you know how I say when it rains, it pours. It does. I thought that was going to have been the worst thing that possibly happened. And it was, but it got worse. And I had a dog at the time. And, well, I even go back a little bit for that. The family, they were not supportive as I thought they would because of like the situation that did happen. Because of my anger, I won't go into that too much, but it was like they blamed me for it. And it was so crazy because they just could not understand, like, why I reacted out. I guess they could not understand why I reacted that way I did. Sometimes I think people look at the reaction and not seeing what the back reasons behind the action, and that frustrated me as well. And I got blamed for stuff that I didn't even do and things that I didn't even cause to happen, and that was a whole situation. So I kind of just started dissing myself even more from the family, and I just went on my way. I went back to my own life and started driving again. And even when I was driving, it was so bad that I had to I was on Adderall for a little while just to get my nerves calm down, because I could not get myself to stop crying. I have never cried so much in my life. Every day I woke up, so I go to work. All I could do is get myself to get up, go to work, get dressed, go to work, and just do my job every single day. I try to work at least any day, every day I could possibly get. I asked my boss because I just work. I didn't want to do anything else but just go to work. So she thankfully was understanding of that, and she just let me work, and that's what I did. But even me going to work, every morning I just cried. I did. And so I got tired of crying. I was like, I'm tired of crying. I'm tired of crying. So I just got to a point where I started taking the Adderall, and the Adderall basically numbed me to where I just didn't feel anything, and I could hold all my emotions in, because that's what I was really trying to do, was trying to hold my emotions in and just deal with life, survive basically. And me surviving, it wasn't enough. And time went by. Fast forward, like about 8 months later, I remember I had a dog at the time. Her name was Paisley. She's a little silky terrier I had. I hadn't, and it was so crazy because I hadn't prayed in a long time. And for some reason that night I did. I just prayed, and I was like, whatever happens tomorrow, let me be okay with it. That's what I remember. I remember praying and saying. And I woke up that next morning and turned the light on, and my dog, she was gone. And it was so crazy because I could not process. I couldn't process what happened. I didn't understand what happened with her. But looking back now, I think there was a couple of days that she was lethargic, but I didn't know what that was at the time. I didn't understand what that even meant, and what was the signs of a dog, getting sick and everything. Then I found out what happened is that she had a heart attack and it was so ironic because that's exactly what happened to my sister. She had a heart attack as well, and it was like it was all of a sudden, but it really wasn't. Because like I said, looking back in both situations, it was signs there, but it's not signs that a person typically would look for, because you just never think that way, I guess, as a person. But now, having all this death in my life, it kind of has shown me how 1 second things can be fine, and the next minute, your whole life changes. I've been trying to reinvent myself and my identity, and trying to find out what life is like without her. But it's so weird because it's like now she's a memory, and I hate it. Even my dog, like between my sister and my dog, it's like they're just a memory, and I know they're real, or they were real, because I have pictures and I have those memories, but it's still it's unexplainable, and also not having that support system that some people have, it makes me have to just close down and shut myself down a lot, because a lot of time I think people get to a point with me where they think I'm okay because I've dealt with so much stuff already, and I've been fine, and I've been so successful, as they think, in dealing with things. But that doesn't mean that I didn't need support, and that has pretty much made me a person to where I don't say much to people, and when I do, I'm very straightforward. I'm very I won't say blunt about it, but I'm stern, and straightforward, to where it can come off a little bit standoffish, I suppose. But I guess it's part of why I was saying too earlier in the conversation that I'm still angry. That's pretty much what it is. I know that's kind of what it is. I've been trying to go through a version of my own therapy because I did try to go to a therapist, but at this point so far it hasn't really helped. So I just don't feel like they don't understand because I don't think anybody will really truly understand unless you have actually been through something like this, how grief goes, because I did not know. I knew it was steps to grief, and I thought it was just like 5 or 7 steps that you go through, but oh no, you can go from being fine to where you're accepting it, and you go back and you reverse, and you go back to denial, and you go back to blaming others, blaming yourself, woulda, coulda, shouldas, and it's just on and on. It's never ending. And most people genuinely, they don't usually check on you that much. Like pretty much after, I say, the first month or so, they don't check anymore. I guess people think life just keeps going on, and that's what makes me angry sometimes too. Is because I know they mean well and they don't mean to be offensive, but I've had times where people I've talked to or heard came and speak to me and stuff like that, and it's I forgot you even had a sister. I'm like, are you serious? It's like, you know how offensive that is to me, and disrespectful. And then you verbalize it, and that kind of hurts, for a person. I know they don't mean it, but at the same time, it's like, can you be more careful as to what you say to people? But I don't know. It just makes me angry, the fact that like I have to go on with my life too, and she's not here. And it got to a point where I didn't even like taking pictures for a long time. I didn't take any pictures with anybody. And if I would take pictures by myself, somewhere, but I wouldn't post it more times than not. I tried to, but I never could get myself to do it. And now it's like I'm getting better at doing it, but it's still this resistance I have of doing it because it's so hard to explain. Like, to have lived life with a person and now they're not here, but at the same time, you can still see things or feel things or know that there are evidence that they were here, but they're not anymore. I remember the day that my dog passed as well. I had to go through that by myself, honestly. I have never been so hysterical more than just as much as my sister, because it was just like a double whammy of getting hit with death. And I ended up waiting till I got home because I don't have to go to work that day, so I ended up putting her in a little cooler, wrapped her up, put her in a cooler until I got home that night or that evening, and I decided to bury her in the backyard at the house I was currently at. And I remember when I got done, I literally just fell on the ground and just was hysterically just crying and screaming and hollering and falling down like a little child. It was so. If somebody really was, I would pretty much probably be embarrassed about it. Even talking about it now is a little bit embarrassing. But that's just how I felt, and that's my honest truth. And even now, I still think about her a lot. I thought maybe, because after that, I was like, I don't want another dog. I said, I can't get another dog. I can't. And so I tried to live life without it, but I couldn't live without, because at that point, it was too much death at that point. I could not deal with not having something. So like a month or two later, I decided to move out that property I was living in and move into a house. And thankfully, I had a family member that did help me out with that. And so I was able to, get into a different place pretty quickly. And then I found another dog that I wanted to get, and that did help. It did not remove the pain at all, but it did kind of soothe it, I guess you can say. But I just know there were times where those feelings were so painful, I started making decisions that were not good for me when it came to people. Because I just basically at that point I was just taking what I could get, to try to deal with it, and that was not. And I knew it was not a situation that I should have been dealing with, but at that point I don't think I care. I just wanted what I can get, and that, I guess you could say, came with consequences too, dealing with people that I knew weren't safe for me, because that's also a thing I got to. I didn't have the boundaries that I should have had with people at that point, and that caused me some problem because people that I thought would have been there for me, they weren't. So it was just like I was in a very unsafe area or time in my life, where nothing felt safe to me. So I just took what I can get. And even now I've been fighting it. And so I've been deciding that maybe I can help someone else out. That's kind of why I'm telling my story, because I would never honestly tell people this if it wasn't something that I feel like could help someone else, that's going through this or may in the future go through this. I wouldn't wish this on anybody, honestly, but the way life is, it's almost, it's inevitable that it's going to happen, but you don't see it you don't understand it until it happens to you, and that's what most people, and I've even heard people literally say that they never thought it was going to happen to them. I think I've even said it myself in some kind of capacity, and so when it does happen though, it is surreal. It's definitely surreal. Every day it does not get easier to not have that person there that you once knew that were there, was there. And then there were things that I never thought I really wanted in my life, including buying a house. Because I didn't. I never wanted to buy a house. I never wanted to be, in that sense, I felt stuck, sitting somewhere and being in one place. But now it's kind of like it's the opposite for me, where I feel like it's comfort to be in one spot. But I did feel like if I'd ever decided to do it, it would be where I am, in a sense of rural country area, because I like quiet. I still don't like a lot of people. I actually just prefer one or two people, and even with that, people that I thought that the one or two people I did think that were gonna be there for me, they were not. And that kind of woke me up too. And then a year later or two, I can't remember this point because everything kind of a blur at this point, I got sick myself, and that kind of became a whole situation, and in a sense it scared me, but at the same time it was a strange sigh of relief in it, and deep down I was in a little bit of dark spot, I would say, and I was kind of relieved, because the pain of dealing with my sister not being there anymore, and my dog, it didn't feel fair to me to still be here. Still doesn't, honestly. I just try to deal with it every day. And then to see people every day that don't appreciate life, don't appreciate themselves, don't appreciate other people, and when they even have help and they have people there to support them, they don't even appreciate it. I don't understand that, There are people I know that do appreciate things, but the ones that I'm talking about specifically right now is more that don't than do, in my experience of life, of people I've come in contact with. And I don't know why it's so hard for people to be appreciative of people that, especially when they're genuine, right? But then you see people that are in denial of ones that are abusing them and using them and taking advantage of them, and they're not happy with them. It's just so many things, and they just still stay, and I can't even at this point get people to understand that I need help too, right? Because that's all I ever get people most time tell me, like, you're fine, you'll figure it out, you're strong enough to deal with it on your own, but everybody else is not. I don't really get that. I honestly don't get it. But at this point in time, I guess it's not meant for me to get it, and that's where I'm trying to get to a point where I'm just finding my own way of therapy and walking the road less traveled, because so many people now, I feel like, from my experience and my opinion, they choose the wide and spacious road, and they think it's easier. It's not. It's really not. That road's so wide sometimes you don't know where you're going, right? Because I've been on the road before. You don't know. I'd rather have a very tight road, because at least I know there ain't really that many places to go, But on that spacious road, you can kind of get straight that way. And you'll find people just like that on the same road. They can't help you. They can't help themselves, And that's why I've always been a person that I prefer one or two people. But now it's like, I guess I'm just gonna have to figure it out and take what I can get from the people that I feel like that. Because that's another thing I feel like I'm trying to do now, is find people that have some of the goals, and I have been through things that has taught them lessons, and the way their life has turned out from those lessons, But trying to find your way when so much death has been in your life, it's really hard, because it just makes you seem like, I don't really know how to explain it other than saying, like, it makes life not feel real. I know I'm here, I know I'm alive, but sometimes it just does not seem. I think I'm walking on water sometimes, like I'm just floating, like I'm in limbo, and I'm just falling, and I can't catch myself. And I know at this point there is not really going to be too many people that will catch me, So I'm hoping I catch myself at least. And maybe me sharing this can help somebody else catch themselves, But yeah, this is an ongoing journey, grieving, mourning death, and people that you're close to, because like I said, nobody's going to really understand it unless they have genuinely felt it and had someone close to them that they're really close to. Not someone that just died in your family, not someone you were friends with or you knew, but someone you genuinely was close to that died. That is a different feeling. That is a different. It changes your whole life. It really does. That's the only version of death that I feel like a person would truly understand what I'm saying right now. And to go every day and wake up every day and know this person is never coming back. It's hard. It's really hard. I can't really process it. I just live with it. This is the best way to explain it. I just live with it. Now I can't say maybe one day it'll get better. I Don't know if that's even a thing from what I've heard. Others tell me days, years go by, it doesn't change it. And I know some people, they just kind of like brush it off and act like, I'm not gonna say they act like it's not there, but at the same time, they just don't talk about it. That's what most people, I think, do. They don't talk about it, and I don't want to be one of those people, because I feel like if I do that, I'm gonna lose that memory of her, and I don't want to do that to her. By not speaking her name, by not talking about her, by not bringing her up, in my life experiences and day to day. Because there's not a day that goes by that I don't think about her, and I don't have this weird pit in my stomach about it. I just try to go on, like anybody else, but I don't want to do it to that capacity to where I don't act like she's here, or she's ever been here, should I say. The only goal I really have now, like I said, is to try to honor her memory by doing better for myself and things that I know she went through. And we talked about, I try to stay focused. She did. I remember one of the last things she told me was that she envied that I did things that she wished she could get herself to do, but she couldn't. So to me, it's like a push for me to keep going forward and being the person she thought I was, That's all I really can do at this point. But I hope this helped someone by me sharing this um, conversation. And everything I'm saying is an opinion. This is by my experience of what I've went through. I'm pretty sure everybody's different on their grieving process, but overall, anyone like I said that has genuinely been through something or been lost someone they genuinely was close to will, in a sense, understand the direction I was kind of going in as far as how I explain it, my feelings and stuff. You know, but I hope this helps someone out. I really do. Because it took a lot for me to share this with you guys. So I'm gonna get off of here now, though. But thank you for watching to this end if you got here, and I really appreciate the support. And I want to be able to continue to support you guys by sharing my experiences. And within this series, I want to keep having honest conversations like this to hopefully help motivate other people. And this is also my therapy, honestly, for myself, being honest. But you guys take care, and I hope y'all have a great day or had a great day thus far. And I'll see you in another episode. Bye, you guys.